All right. Okay, we got those nuts off. I'm going to set those up here so I don't lose them. Now, hey there, welcome back to RevRender Garage. I am Sean, and today we are going to be starting in on yet another part of this 2012 Honda Ruckus Project Scooter. We are going to start diving into the muffler today. If you ask me, it's hideous and it makes the bike look absolutely ridiculous. So I'll give you an idea of what we're going to do here and show you what's going on. So the first thing that's going on is we've got just a regular pipe clamp, a very custom piece of wire. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this off, pop this up, remove the header tube, paint the header tube black, powder coat the center, you do the ends red, and then this will have a nice red tint to the black and it'll look really cool. Stay tuned. And we're going to start tearing this muffler off, and once we get that torn off, we can start powder coating it and getting it looking killer. So we'll see you soon. All right, we have all the tools we need to remove the muffler and the header tube, as well as the bracket that's holding it up. And what we've got here is we've got a socket wrench with a 10 mil and a little extension. And then we've got a socket with an 8 mil. The 10 mil is going to take off the header tube. The 8 mil is going to take off the band back here on the muffler, if you can see. So let's get to this. Off. I'm going to set those up here so I don't lose them. Now we want to take this off. Now the final tool needed. There we go. There she blows, just like that. So we're going to finish this stuff off. We're going to paint this. We're going to powder coat this inside piece between the rings, all black. And then we're going to do the ends in red. Should look pretty sweet. See this muffler bracket right here? That is, we're going to have a new bracket to hold it on. And then we're going to powder coat this red. Just need to remove these two bolts. Easy enough to do. I also searched through all of the extra muffler rings that we have, and I found this one. I'm sure with a little trimming of the rubber, it's going to be just fine. We will get that powder coated as well, and we will do that in red, as it's going to go over the black part of the muffler. So let's get crack-a-lacking and do it. All right, we've got all of our parts removed, so at this point, we need to start cleaning this up, and this is pretty messed up. Not to mention, it weighs 4,000 pounds. Just look at crazy. And then all the damage, the clamp they use, that a standard pipe clamp with no rubber in between it. So it's going to be a little tough to clean up. But you know what? You're not going to see a lot of this stuff. This is a lot of the stuff that's on the bottom, and the stuff that got marred up so bad by that metal clamp with no rubber in between is going to be covered up by another one anyways. We're going to rough this up. I'm going to use 100 grit sandpaper on it at this point. I'm not too worried about the roughness of it. Again, we're going to be using matte black on this. And as I mentioned before, matte black is very forgiving. And with powder coating, it kind of sinks and melts and gets all those little inconsistencies and makes it look great. So let's get to sanding, and then we'll start the next step. You would think that sanding a muffler would be a little bit more quiet, right? Anyways, we're starting to get this all nice and roughed up. It's going to look good. Just smoothing it all out. Just got to do kind of the other half here, and then we can start getting it prepped for powder coating. Okay, we got this all roughed up really nicely all the way around. Got all the debris. There was tons of, it looked like what was like rubber from the tire on there. So we got it all cleaned up. We're going to go ahead and just clean this tube up as well, the header tube. Not going to try to perfect it, just going to try to rough it up and get it prepared for the heat-proof battle can we're going to use on it. So I will get crack-a-lacking on that, and when we are all done, we can start preparing everything for paint, whether it be powder or spray. Before we get too crazy trying to tape this all up, the first thing we want to do is figure out how we're going to hang it. I'm thinking I might have to drill a hole if I have a bit long enough.
A few moments later.
Look at that. Hot that could actually do it. All right. Wish me luck. Not going to work from that side. Wow, not going to work from that side either. Oh, I see what's going on. It's about halfway through the tube, and I think that I can just push the wire right through that if we can do this. I'm wondering if I got a piece of rebar that was longer than this and tried shoving that in there. Let's see what happens. All right, got a piece of rebar. Let's stick it in here and see if we can't rattle some shit around. Let's just measure here. From this, it would signify that it's right there. If you flip it over, put this in there, it's telling you that it's right here. How is that possible? So let's take this light again. This is what I like about this light. It's got a little one on the end. So let's just try sticking this in there again, straight down. Yeah, buddy. So there was a little crack in it that I could see light through. So what I did is I put a screwdriver flathead in that crack, pounded it down a little bit, and just spread it just enough. And then I looked through the other side, which was much easier, and I was able to feed it all the way down and right out through that crack. We're gonna have to put heat tape to protect these areas from getting black powder coat on them. At that point, we'll be able to actually powder coat it and then get it in the oven and get that baked on partially, and then I'll tell you what the next step is and why we're only gonna bake it partially. Say hi, honey. Hi. There you go. Now that we've got everything sanded, we are ready to clean this up and start getting this heat tape around these edges. Mice and rats, they can sneak through any tiny little hole. Let's get started on taping this up. All right, now we have got everything taped up. You can see I taped these ends very carefully all the way around. So now what we're going to do is set it on its end. We're going to acetone it all up. Let's get our acetone out. Some more of that. I'm almost out. You got to have this stuff when you're powder coating so you can clean your metal really good. And another tip too, when you're powder coating, reverse it around so you can get to the back side. You'll notice that most of the powder coating is already done. It floats over and it just sticks because it's been electro-sized, whatever you want to call it. And because it'll stick to the metal, you don't have to powder coat the back that much. So I'm going to go get the powder coating area ready. All right, we're out here in the powder coating area. We've got our muffler hanging, ready to go. I've got the black loaded up in the powder coating gun right here. And got some air compressor going. Oven is heating up. So let's get to powder coating this. All right, now that I can talk to you again, we got this all powder coated. And what I did is I gave it a quick perusal just to make sure that it was all covered. And as you can see, it laid down very nicely. So what we're gonna do is get this in the oven. I'm gonna set my watch for 10 minutes. Then we'll come out and grab it. And then we'll move on to step number 2, which will be removing that tape. Once the tape is removed, we'll get those ends cleaned up with acetone, and then we'll get this all set up with lollipop bread and powder coated and bake that. So can't tell you how excited I am to see this. It's not going to improve that. So let's get to it. Okay, timer went off. It's been in there for 14 minutes. We're going to open this up, take it out, and see how it looks. You see that? That looks really good. I'm going to take it inside and get it hung up. All right, we're back inside the garage here. I've got this hung up off the welding table. Once it cools down, we're going to remove all the tape, dust it off in case it's got any debris on it, acetone the ends, and then we can take it back out and we can get the red going on it. So let's let it cool. Since our muffler is cooling down, we're going to sand down the muffler bracket right now, and this is going to end up being red. I'm going to get this going. Cue the time lapse. Powder coated, cooled down, ready to go. Looks great. You can see those dents from the metal band that was on there. I'm going to try not to touch it too much because I don't want to hit anything on this because we're putting a translucent over it. So I'm going to just take this tape off. But what I was really worried about is that edge right where it connects to the black. So check that out. Looks good. Let's take a look at this one. Hot damn, I think we made it out perfect. Look at that. So I'm going to get these cleaned up as well as this part right here, because this is going to be red as well. One thing that we didn't talk about is there is a band that goes around the muffler. We're going to do this red as well because it's going to be against the black and it'll pop awesome. So we're going to acetone everything, take it out, powder coat all of it red, get it in the oven, and we're going to be getting closer to finishing this thing up. All right, we have cleaned up the gas tank as far as acetoning, roughed them up just a little bit. I want them to be as shiny as possible because that translucent lays down even better the brighter and shinier the metal is. So all right, we got this powder coated. We're gonna get this one going in the big oven. All right, once it's in the oven, it's all good. Now we're going to go and powder coat the other two items and we'll get those in the small oven and we are darn close. Next piece ready to go. So you can see this is powder coated and it took the powder coat amazing. Way better than I thought because this had a surface chrome look to it. And sometimes it just will not stick to that or magnetize to it. So now what we're gonna go do is we're gonna stick this in the oven inside. We're gonna bring out the final piece, powder coat it, get that in the oven inside and get those baking. And at that point, we should be ready to take the muffler out of the oven. So let's continue on. Last and final piece, the ring for the muffler ring, powder coated. Again, this took amazingly well. So we're gonna go get this in the oven and we're going to get that baking for 14 minutes. And by that time, we should be able to take this muffler out. So we'll take a look at it and see how awesome it looks. So it's got that red, just a little glow to the black. Let me shut that. And look at those ends. Oh my God, those ends look killer. So we're gonna go hang this up now and let it cool. Woohoo! We're gonna take a look at this muffler real quick so you can see what that looks like. Looks pretty sweet. The one thing I'm not sure about is how this red tinted black is gonna look on the bike. So I came up with an idea of taping these all off just like we did before and then using heat-proof matte black spray paint. What I need to do is get it tested on the heat tube first to see how it lays down and see how dark it is when it's done. Some of them have a grayish black look to them. And so we're going to test it out. And at that point, we can start reassembling this thing. We are laying low down on the ground here, getting ready to install the header tube in place. I am going to get some Loctite on both of these nuts, just a little bit. Too much Loctite and it should be called frozen tight for good. That looks incredible. Man almighty, I am so happy with this. And I'm so happy, if I didn't tell you and you couldn't tell, that I went with the matte black. It just makes such a difference. So let's take another look at this thing with the whole bike in here. That just looks so good. All right, now that we have seen the complete makeover of the muffler on our 2012 Ruckus, I'm gonna say, if you like what you see, then subscribe to the channel. If you like the channel, then give it a like and comment. Also, turn on your notifications, and on top of that, tell all your friends until they tell all their friends. Until next time, RevRender out.